So at the point when they told her walk pneumonia, the blood test. And then, so then like, I heard she went on the Friday and Monday. No, too.
Well,
You can't stay on my
Look.
I was feeling he shouldn't feel
I've been reluctant because I keep thinking like, I'm gonna prep before.
I don't know.
and then you kind of do, and then you're done.
Right. Then I do like a little bit of whatever, and then settle down and I'm so tired of it. I just want my energy back. I want to stop coughing.
I would have done it. 60, well, 50.
I know, I appreciate it. Because I'm stubborn and I take care of everyone next time I stop. I'm like, I understand that.
Yeah. But you watched it.
I know.
But right now, it's okay. So I do the same thing.
Oh, what is that? It's my, it's a mom.
Panther up on the top of the earth. And Gallows up there with a person.
Bill let me buy it, so.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds superb.
How are you? Wooden gallows.
I think creativity. I've lost track of it. I think 4 times.
Only limited by your age.
Finally, yeah. You sound better too.
Meeting with.
Yeah.
I gotta have 60. 60. Because I wear shorts. Well, I wear shorts.
I think that's been like since the beginning of February.
Besides my outfit, I'm something about
And the 80s on the windowsill, gas station.
Yeah, and I didn't miss any days from this, but I've just been
Lucky.
like, I said, like, let me help get rid of it.
That was back when Joey Sutton used to be here.
Sure.
I have a friend.
Here, right here. That's before, well, not before my time, before my time in Maumee.
That was probably.
Oh, yeah. Well, this guy was who was, early to mid-60s, late 70s.
How we doing?
For some reason,
So you can't get around it?
See Carl Lee.
why, you can leave a note for the green
But
people.
only because
So we're up there, we're not in the way of the panel.
That would get the point across, right?
Please put some.
what I do need to get the small print in case you use it.
It's really not that small, it's that.
Yeah?
Yeah, the bigger one.
Good, Dave.
Yeah.
I'll be a
Oh, yeah. Hey, Dad, you should you should get a bigger one.
I'm just happy that I'm getting my answer.
Please,
Like a font.
a bigger font agenda.
I'm afraid to not put it out there now.
This isn't too bad.
Not so we're stopping now that I got.
Oh, did you hear? This is, yeah, this is what
Yes. And put on 3 pair of glasses. And it is
You
my
keep bringing down, you know, like the eye doctor thing that keeps coming down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's only like 3,000 lines. So. You have any?
Really,
Only 3,000.
some of these websites that have, and my vision.
Well, that's what I said, I'm like, it's not that bad, I'm like, well, tell you, you have a little.
No. What's your reaction? Great. And the blue. There's just no contrast between the, great contrast, and
I know what you mean.
That would only be part of it, and I'm not asking for that, but it's just
Well, so sometimes,
different schedules.
and it's interesting you said that, because, so they say that a bright light background for a PowerPoint presentation is not bad. Even if it's too bright, and then they have to, I don't understand it, I don't have that issue. I just said, so you know, but they say, cause I think of what you said.
totally like
More contrast,
like when I
whatever.
went down the hallway.
They feel like if you're having white background, it's too bright, and you should like calm it down.
for that.
Yeah.
Glad you could join us.
Yeah, we can charge.
So I know she's like parts of it. Morgan Shaw.
You're interested in sending to me.
Yeah, well, I, do it for a senior shadowing project, so, my minor in college. So, I didn't know you were science. Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of switched. My main lesson is because I obviously feel like my master's in 4 years. And then you had, like, there was a minor. Okay. And I only did it. So,
So Morgan is the recipient of, what's the scholarship? For,
Patty and Bob Patty.
where did you go?
Yes, it's, well, it's under, country.
Posted.
Yeah. You still want to, I don't know if there's another one here. That sounded like James. Yeah. They're just little short stories for you. That's what I'm saying. So it's, yeah. Sure. Yeah.
And then close those bars. Oh, I don't want to put it in. Oh, but love more than else. I can remove the rail.
Oh, that's. Is that the one that you said spare one? Oh, yeah, well, there you go. They just pushed them off.
Absolutely. I heard about that. Oh, well, I've been looking at that. Oh, 6, 10.
Phil came in and said how it's warm in here.
Yeah, well, I literally just got back to the hotel. Supposedly it's the last day of winter and it's snowing.
How's it going?
Yourself? You have children?
No, they're in 8th, 6th, and 1st grade.
Somebody else in your family had a story in the mirror? Something good, I don't remember what it was.
My daughter ends up in the mirror all the time. So, I don't know how, but she does.
That's cool.
I didn't even get a chance to read last Thursday, just sitting on my kitchen counter. So,
It's a, you know, when Mike decides to hang up, don't know what's going to happen. These kids are not interested in it. I tell you, the city really.
I think it's broken like my Jeep.
Good, positive stuff.
yeah, we need something.
Thank you, Brandon.
Supposed to be a cool week.
Yeah, I saw it.
My grass is already needing cutting. I'm not going to cut the grass.
I'll cut my grass now. Luckily, I have more weeds than grass, so I'm still okay. No, I have a lot more weeds than grass. So,
I just refuse to cut grass.
it's, someday I'll get my yard back under control, but not today.
There's a company that we hired to treat the lawn, just for one.
Mm-hmm.
And come out 5 times a year. It's so nice.
You know, we used Tribune once upon a time. They did a really good job. And when you come out, they spray this thing. I'm like, that's all they're doing. And like, oh, cool. All right. They know what they're doing.
It used to be funny, people say, I gotta get home, cut my lawn because of, you know, it's a human tree that's always growing. But, I'm at a life where I kind of like it. Kids are grown, gone. Little baseball diamonds in the backyard. You know, if the city resolved the overbilling from the water,
Welcome to the Maumee City Council meeting, March 18th, 2024, at 6:15 p.m.
contested.
We call the order, please.
Noonan,
Yes.
Hockenberger. Yes. Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus,
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Kirk,
Yes.
Lineback.
Yes.
Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is Committee of the Whole, President Barrow.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. Flip over the agenda. Council, is there any comments or questions about anything on the agenda? Mr. Lineback?
Thank you, Council President Barrow. So one of the items that we'll be looking at tonight has to do with new council rules or amended council rules. One of the changes in there limits citizen comments on any one particular topic 15 minutes during one of the regular scheduled meetings like we have here tonight. I was wondering if the law director or someone else could at least explain the reason for that, kind of given the purpose of these meetings, and what forum we have available for our citizens if there is a topic that comes up that generates a whole lot more interest and a lot more desire to comment, that we would have a chance to be able to hear that.
Could I interject just for a second? I don't think I heard you right, because I think you said citizen comments are limited to 15 minutes.
A topic.
Per topic, I think.
Yeah, that's how I read it in here.
All right, okay. Thank you.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, that's something that's pretty standard. I mean, this is really the business meeting of the council. You know, they do provide an opportunity in Maumee for citizen comments. For a long time, a lot of cities didn't even provide for any comment period. And communications the citizens have outside a council meeting with council members are just as important. You know, they can relay other information to you individually if they do have any questions or concerns as to particular legislation that might be on the agenda. So it is just one of the, because it is a business meeting, you don't want things to drag out indefinitely, you know, on the people that are repeating the same thing again and again.
Thank you.
Any other comments or concerns?
President Carroll. Another item that I think is it's a good item. I'm going to certainly vote for it. But it has to do with the gateway signage and the new signage that we've seen around town at several the main gateways coming into the city. Certainly offers a fresh, attractive, new look for our city signage announcing you're entering Maumee. The item in the consent calendar that we're looking at tonight authorizes the expenditure of capital funds to add 5 more signs on the roadways that do not have such signage. But I just wanted to be able to say that these signs, are aesthetic investments. Okay, they're attractive, but the signage will not improve the quality of everyday life for our residents the way functional infrastructure investments can do. Now, I acknowledge that maintaining a high quality of living, in our city for our residents requires investments both in functional infrastructure as well as aesthetic improvements. There's beauty to be enjoyed in life, and we have to have that. And those signs, they're beautiful. But the vast majority of our investments, need to be dedicated to functional investment, and we do have many functional needs. I've asked the question, and I've heard it from some other people, questions like, is this the best use of these capital funds right now? And does it strike the right balance with the other investments that are planned? Well, I did want to say that the city administration devotes substantial efforts to identifying, planning, and selecting the capital projects that will maintain and improve our city. And as the year unfolds and new projects are presented for authorization, I'll be hoping to see a preponderance of capital investment projects that address the public infrastructure, both above ground and below ground, that we often take for granted. And lastly, I just want to thank the administration for being aware of our needs, the city's needs, and providing such a detailed plan for tackling those. This is really an outstanding, budget investment. A lot of effort, a lot of detail, a lot of thought that went into it. So
Thank you. Anything else? And I'd just like to weigh in on the sign issue. I think they're great, and I think it's a nice hallmark, if you will, for the city. It makes a statement, and I think it really speaks to what we, as a council and the city, thinks of our city, and we want to project that. And I think those signs do just that. Haven't seen no other requests for comment. This concludes Committee of the Whole.
Thank you, President Barrow. We'll move to citizen comments, a 3-minute time limit. If anybody here would like to say something, you can approach the podium and state your name and address.
Bob Romeschlag, 304 Lacombe. I saw in the mirror that the city of Maumee was contesting the amount of fees the city of Toledo was charging for water. And I wondered if I could get an update tonight from somebody on the progress of that. I think it's great that you're fighting for those monies back. Not sure where you're at with that project or that particular matter. was several $100,000 at stake there for the city.
Anybody else? Okay, yeah, Mr. Birch, could you comment on it?
Sure. I think, Mr. Rumstock, I think you're referring to the sanitary sewer discharge that comes in at our pump station at the Turnpike. The city of Toledo has a portion in South Toledo of that town that has a combined sewer system in those neighborhoods. And when it rains, it discharges a significant amount of money. I think our finance director could probably chime in here really quickly and give us a number or an estimate of what we believe Toledo owes us for that.
Sure, as of 12/31/23, it's $783,000.
And yes, we are pursuing it as well as the amount we believe that the Lucas County owes the fairgrounds from the same type of a discharge.
Ideally, we'd like to see them pump it in a different direction. I mean, that would be the best goal.
Back home.
Yeah, and instead of, but it's an older neighborhood and that's the way it was designed, and so, yeah, we definitely have to rectify that. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, we'll move to the adoption of the agenda. Motion to approve the agenda as submitted. Mr. Newman, please.
Thank you, Mayor McDowell. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. Call the roll.
Newman,
Yes.
Pufferberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus, Harris,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Linebaugh,
Yes.
And the approval of meeting minutes from the regular meeting of March 4th, 2024. Yes,
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I move to approve regular meeting minutes of March 4th, 2024.
And I second that motion. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll call the roll on approving the meeting minutes.
Newman,
Yes.
Pufferberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Linebaugh,
Yes.
Petitions and communications, there is nothing listed here, although I met a young lady today that I'd kind of like to introduce to council. Morgan, if you wouldn't mind coming up, I'd just like to, Morgan shadowed me for a couple hours today. We kind of toured the city and looked at some of the projects. She's a senior at Notre Dame Academy and very bright, aspiring young woman. And I had the pleasure of escorting around the town today, so I thought it would be interesting if you wouldn't mind kind of introducing yourself to council and what kind of you have plans for the future.
Yeah, so my name is Morgan Chazda. I said I'm senior at Notre Dame Academy, so I'm here shadowing for like my senior project. I'll be majoring in business and political science in the fall at Miami of Ohio. So kind of wanted to explore this as a career and see what it entails. Yeah, today was great. We looked around a couple projects that have been going on over the last 4 years, I would say. And it was really neat, great opportunity. I appreciate you escorting me around, like you said, but yeah, thank you.
How are you going to pay for college?
So I have received, it's called the Chick Evans Scholarship for caddies, so it's full tuition and housing, all 4 years. I was fortunate enough to shave off a couple credit hours at the University of Toledo as a CCP student, so I'm going to manage to smash my master's degree in the 4 years to make sure it's free. So that's the plan.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for your interest. Appreciate it. All right, we'll move to the consent calendar. We need a motion to approve all consent calendar items, and then we'll have a discussion on these. Mr. Kirk?
I would move to approve all the items on the consent calendar.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. A is a recommendation from the city administrator. Mr. Birch?
Yes, this is an authorization for another sewer laying project uptown in the amount of $443,000 to lower that amount with Business Sewer, which has been doing for the phase 3 improvements they've been doing our line for some time.
Any questions on that? Yes, Mr. President.
There a ballpark on how much we spent on our sewer square? I know there's been some questions that I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I meant to ask.
I'm going to put Jennifer.
Way to go.
Well, specifically with these phases, phase 1, 2, 3, and then we've got out till 5, about $3 million. But about 20% of those are grant funded through OPWC, and about 20% are the zero interest loans through OPWC, and the rest is funded by user fees through our sewer fund.
We have applied for another $5 million one bordering, sewer line project bordering, 7th, south, on the west, Michigan Turnpike and railroad tracks, so whole side of town.
And Jennifer, that was the beginning of about 2000, or about 3.5 years.
Yeah, that's just the last few years, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And B is another recommendation from the city administrator authorizing the clerk to return the new request form for liquor permit for Ohio Springs Inc. DBA Sheets without requesting a hearing to the Ohio Department of Liquor Control.
Yeah, this is essentially, we're not not recommending that we object to the hearing for packaged liquor with the Sheets store that should be under construction in Saginaw Crossings very shortly. You'll also have another one of these up when we, for Sheets, which are a little larger sheets out in Arrowhead and Dussel, to the extent that that development agreement is actually commenced.
Thank you. And C is a recommendation from the city administrator to close a series of streets for our Maumee Summer Fair. I think that's pretty self-explained. D is a recommendation from the city administrator to authorize the city to sign a change order agreement with Midwest Contracting for the Gateway Signage Project in the amount of $356,500 and authorize contract changes to facilitate proper payment and installation. Anything further on that?
I do have one thing. When originally, Councilmember Leinbach asked me this weekend, he was asking me, you remember us talking about this before, and I did figure it out today. We actually, when I met with council members individually, I went into great detail about 67 projects here, about, I do it about every 3 months, 4 months. I talked about this twice, and the price, when I looked at my notes, our price originally was $446,000, but there was about $100,000 difference because we shrunk the size of the sign that was supposed to be at the end of the cul-de-sac coming in from Toledo. It was supposed to be a 16-foot tall by 26-foot wide, but we chose to stick with a 16-foot long, 12-foot high sign, as you see out by St. Luke's. Same type of sign, but we thought that sign was just immense. At the time we designed, we just didn't know how large that would actually be. So, $100,000 difference when I explained to council before.
Anything further on that from council? Okay, E is another recommendation from the city administrator authorizing the finance director to transfer $1,450 from the Norfolk Southern TIF fund to repay the general fund. Pretty self-explanatory, Ms. Harkey?
Yeah, the Norfolk Southern TIF, we refer to it as the side cut TIF, but the legal name is Norfolk Southern, and just repaying the general fund for some legal fees that were expended to create the original TIF.
Obviously, Norfolk Southern was the original owner of that property when it was acquired, yes. Okay, F is a recommendation from the city administrator authorize the annual property and liability insurance coverage with the Ohio plan through the Highland Insurance Agency for the period of 3/10 of this year to 3/10 of next year. Anything further on that? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. G is a recommendation from the city administrator authorizing a contract, with a lawn and landscape for grounds maintenance in zones 1 and 2 for $163,530.25, and to authorize a contract with Maumee Promo for landscaping and ground maintenance in zones 3 and 4 for $247,890. Anything further on that?
Yes, this is essentially more mowing than we've had done privately than ever before. There'll be some minor mowing we do because we have lots that people have to have mowed because people don't necessarily all take care of their property. Sometimes we have to mow it and it gets high. But for the most part, this includes, in your packet, you'll see that the zones that were laid out this year also includes mulching, trimming, weeding, spraying, and so on. And there's far less fertilizer and weed killer being used this year than last. A deference to Councilperson Huffenberg.
Thank you. H is a recommendation of city administrator approval to revise the procurement and capital policy amendments. Any explanation on that?
No, actually, it's about capitalization of trees and murals, but if Jennifer go into it.
Yeah, so it allows the city to expend, the capital funds on public art, like a mural, as well as reforestation projects. This is benchmarked against other communities as well as best practices with the, GFOA.
Thank you. Appreciate that explanation. Anything further from council? I, as a recommendation to approve and amend the council rules. Any further comment on that? I think that was kind of brought up in committee of the whole. And J is recommendation from the law director authorizing the city administrator or his designee to execute rental agreements for the use of the Maumee Indoor Theater.
This is to allow me to delegate essentially to our supervisor of the theaters that prefer not to be signing 35 to 37 contracts a year. It's pretty streamlined. They're pretty streamlined.
Yeah, streamline the rental.
They're not huge contracts.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Excuse me, I wanted to go back to I think an explanation about it, if people want to speak at the meeting going forward.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's gonna be a card to fill out when you come in, you're gonna put your name and address on it. Do we need the address? Is that gonna be on the card as well?
It'll be optional.
Okay, and then the topic that you want to discuss, this way, Mayor McDonald can look through and put them in order, if you will, and then maybe run through it a little bit smoother. Thank you.
Okay, anything further? Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll call the roll on consent calendar.
Newman,
Yes.
Uppenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Biscuit,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lightfoot.
Yes.
There's no other business, and we have one new business item, a recommendation from the finance committee. There'll be two motions needed for this to support, needed prior to discussion and voting. So we need two motions, one to waive the 3 readings and 2 to approve. Mr. Fiskus?
You questioned me.
Oh. Ms. Buffenberger, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3 readings. please.
Yes, Mr. Harris.
I will second that motion.
We'll call the roll on that.
Newman,
Yes.
Uppenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Biscuit,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lightfoot.
Yes.
And motion to approve.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 009-2024.
No, I'll second that motion.
Call the roll, please.
Newman,
Yes.
Uppenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Biscuit,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lightfoot.
Yes.
Ms. Buffenberger, she is the chairman of our finance committee. Would you like to explain the process that happened with this?
Sure. We sat down the other day and went through very fine detail with Patrick and Jennifer and Donna and lots of others sitting around the table, and just all line items of all the expenses. It's quite amazing to me just how fine a detail there is with the expenses and the projection that's happening. I mean, it's to see. I was on the finance committee my first 2 years as well, and Jennifer just keeps going leaps and bounds, and with her projections and how far out she's, she can kind of tell us and look into the future of, what we need to do, what we need to change, and so it's quite interesting to see all that, and just kind of going through some things we need to look at to make sure that we are staying more balanced, and how to accommodate St. Luke's leaving and, loss of income.
Thank you. Appreciate the explanation. Okay, we'll move to Mayor, Council Member, and Administrator comments. I will pass. Mr. Newman?
I got a couple things. One, the lady in the audience is attending Notre Dame. I gotta tell you, it was music in my ears that you were going to Miami Mile. It's awesome. I'm a 2010 graduate, excuse me. So just love it on it. So thank you for that. That was awesome. That made my night. What also made my night was People didn't notice I kind of came in here about 5 minutes prior to the meeting. I just left a wrap-up meeting for Accusers for Autism, and they actually gave me permission to share it with it tonight. That event that happened obviously a couple Sundays ago, there was about 30,000 people that went. Just to be thankful for the city and all of its efforts for that event. They wanted me to share with everybody, which I'll coordinate with Mike here to hopefully do an article. But they wanted me to share that they raised $279,000 for that event. It's the highest they've ever done. Obviously the weather helped, but I can't help but note that the city's efforts helped with that effort. So I just wanted to share that. So that also made my night as well. And then I just want to kind of end kind of on a somber note. I apologize, but I just wanted to make sure that Council President Barrow is aware that myself and my family's thoughts and prayers are with you as you deal with the loss of your mother. You know, I've known Council President Barrow and his family for almost 30 years as a little kid, kind of riding up to his store and what have you. And it takes, you know, a truly special person to be in charge of that family. So appreciate you and your family, and again, my family and I have your thoughts and have our thoughts and prayers with you. And let me know if you need anything to help you through this process. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Puffenberg.
Thank you. I would like to have everyone take out their phones and vote for Maumee, because we're in the Elite 8 for Strong Towns contest. So make sure you're voting this week. And I know it doesn't help in the situation, Gabe, but wow, 90-some years, it's amazing, amazing long life. Your mom.
Thank you. Just a comment about the Strong Towns. After our tour today, Ms. Sazda did vote for our town today. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
We're making friends day by day. And Mr. Barrow.
Thank you. Last week or so was the police awards banquet, and it was really nice to see this division come together and point out and hold high the people who really gone beyond the call of duty. It's really nice. It's really a nice setting. I'd like to see more people there at next gathering. But a lot of awards were given, and it was really nice to see the families there and their support. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fiskus.
Thank you, Mayor McConnell. I just wanted to echo what Councilman Leinbach said earlier. My deepest gratitude to Jennifer and her team for all their hard work on this budget. Make it easier for us laymen all to understand, and we really appreciate all you and everyone on the Finance Committee has done. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
I just wanted to mention that something very big happened today. Our fourth and final arch is up. Yay! We do have a ribbon cutting, I believe, this Friday at Rivers Edge Racing. That's going to be a really good event, and I think, kind of echoing what you said earlier about the Acoustics for Autism, I believe that proceeds from them, they're going to be donating some to the Acoustics for Autism as well.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. Mr. Kirk?
I would echo Mr. Noonan's comments to Morgan, not necessarily Miami University of Ohio, but the fact that you're about to be a graduate of Notre Dame Academy. My wife did that a couple of years ahead of you, but I have a fondness for Notre Dame Academy. That's where we met last century. So good luck to you at Miami. And I'm glad you enjoyed your experience with Mayor McDonald. And I would also like to extend condolences to Councilman Barrow. It's tough to lose a mom, but he was, we talked about, he was fortunate to have her probably a little bit longer than most people. She lived to be 95. And although it's tough to take care of a 95-year-old person, he had her with him for many years. And, I don't know, we could never be sure if one has reached his or her heavenly reward, Mrs. Barrow, having raised Gabe for more than 60 years, I'm quite certain she earned enough points to make it up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Linebacker.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I wanted to jump on the bandwagon with Council President Barrow about the police banquet, and really about our police division. Hearing some of the detailed stories, you just never know. You know, unless you're riding along with them or you know somebody who works in the department. And I can't imagine doing that job. We are mightily blessed with an amazing police force who watches out over us to serve and protect. And I think my comments will be private.
Thank you. Mr. Birch, anything further?
I do have one thing. Just want to mention that as Gabe was talking about the awards, and Gabe knows how I feel about the loss of his mom and friends, but Gabe was given an award at the police banquet for Job as the Citizens Award. Essentially was for his cooking skills.
Me only.
Gabe would go over after every event. He would take food up to the officers. He would cook out back. If anybody had seen him on the festival of the 4th of July, he's always back here cooking. Brings his grills in here and cooks for the thing. But I thought it was kind of neat that the Citizen Award went to a chef this year. So. Thank you.
I would just like to add that the Officer of the Year, Derek Sanderson, is a formidable officer that has got a lot of experience. It's going to be very, very difficult to replace even when he retires. But this is actually his second time that he won the Officer of the Year. And, you know, a lot of times, and I've seen this, officers, they kind of see retirement on the horizon and they kind of drop off a little bit about, you know, some of the things they do, but that's never happened with Derek. He has an attitude about himself and his work that is very elevated above everybody else. So I do appreciate Derek. He's a good friend, and he will be for life, and he's very well deserving of that. So congratulations, Derek. It'll be a lengthy session and to update us on some things that are dealing with the city. So I'm not, at this point, I'm not anticipating any further council action when we come back, but we need a motion to go into executive session. That's for everybody that's here. Yes, Mr. Fisker.
Thank you, Rico. I move we enter executive session for personnel and pending litigation.
Thank you, Mr. Barrow.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. Second that motion.
And we'll call the roll.
Noonan,
Yes.
Poppenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Kirk,
Yes.
Linebacker.
Yes.
Thank you.